It's King's production, baby.
Olúwa bá mi mú fóònù mi.
These people calling my brick phone, they won't ever leave me alone. These people calling my brick phone, they won't ever leave me alone.
NBA Fantasy 2023, baby.
These people calling my brick phone, they won't ever leave me
Scotty, you
alone.
hottie?
These people calling my brick phone, they won't ever leave me
I said
alone.
again.
See, I am the best, never ever settle for less.
Luca,
See, I am the best, never ever settle for less.
it's game time.
It's King on the mic, what you looking at? It's King on the mic, what you looking for?
LeBron?
It's King on the mic, what you looking at? It's King on the mic, what you looking
Tatum
for?
Brown.
Them calling my brick phone, they won't ever leave me alone.
Check, check.
These people calling my brick phone, they won't ever
What's
leave
good,
me
Shay?
alone. It's King on the mic, what you looking at?
It's King on the
What
mic.
you looking for?
It's King on the
What
mic.
you looking at?
It's King on the mic.
What you looking at?
It's King on the
What
mic.
you looking for?
It's King on the
What
mic.
you looking at? These people calling my brick phone, they won't ever leave me alone.
Hey, you a toaster, baby.
Yo, what it do, baby? Man, it's been a long time since I've been popping, dropping, doing a lot of things. Yo, I just want to say I've been gone for a hot minute, but that's okay. Man, I didn't know school was so much work, bro. I actually didn't know, but I'm just trying to adjust my thought. I didn't know school was so much work, but honestly, that's all right. But here we are. Sorry guys, man. Nowadays fashion is a real thing. So I can't come up here like with my fashion completely like dead. But yeah, I've just been reading a lot. I've just been reading a lot. And I guess it makes you mentally tired. You know what I mean? I ain't done it makes you mentally tired. I forgot how tired it actually makes you, to be honest. But yo, we're in playoffs now. And these are the guys that made playoffs. So first round is Ain't No One Stopping This versus Flat Earth Gang. London is Red versus Beyond Ironside. Vancouver Grizzlies versus next season. Liverpool versus Prime Time City. Yo, this video was requested by Daniel, Prime Time City. So I was just like, you know what? Let me not be lazy. Let's just do the thing, you know what I'm trying to say. Let's just do what we gotta do. And honestly, I want to record every round for the playoffs. You know what I'm trying to say? Even if I get eliminated, I still want to do it for y'all, for the organization, you know what I'm trying to say. So I do want to do like an in-depth analysis of each playoff like round. And I'm actually gonna go from the bottom to the top, right? So how they got here. Honestly, prime time was man's coming in hot, if I'm being fair. He's coming in real hot, and if I'm being honest, there's just no way. There's no way he's losing this matchup. And um, the only reason why Liverpool is talking because I think Monday he was ahead. Tuesday he's kept it somewhat respectable in a way. But if we're being honest, in my opinion, this matchup is just over. There was no beginning and there was no end. Um, this guy has De'Aaron Fox, Kyrie Irving, DeMar DeRozan, Jason Tatum, Porter Bridges, Malik Monk going for six man, James Harden, Anunoby, Kevin Durant. This week, Dallas plays four times, Phoenix plays four times, Boston plays four times. So, respectfully, there's just no way, whatever this is, like Jalen Brunson, whatever this is, there's just no way it's beaten this four times. Like in a regular fantasy, playing against James Harden and Tatum four times in a playoff week alone, people are scared. But now you're playing against wait. Chicago plays four times too, right? I think so. Now you're playing against DeRozan, Kyrie Irving, Tatum, James Harden, and Kevin Durant four times. So, like, respectfully, like, I know, prime time. He's a quiet guy, but I know he's smiling whenever he opens the app because I just don't see it unless his field goal percentages and his free throw percentages are really low. But other than that, because he has those guys playing so much, he's just winning. He should just win these categories, man, and enough points. So like with Liverpool, I just don't see it, man. And if I go on his team, yeah, and I'm gonna address this because I think that there needs to be a few rule changes coming into next season because today I dropped some players from the teams that didn't make playoffs. And I noticed is that a lot of the guys I dropped are not even like going to be able to play during the playoffs, if that makes sense. Like Joel Embiid can't play during the playoffs. Bagley, if you're playing competitively, you should have dropped him. Lamelo Ball, we've known he's not going to play during the playoffs for about 2 to 3 weeks. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like, why are these players here? You know what I mean? And I realize is that a guy like Liverpool has quote unquote had injury problems this whole year. You've had quote unquote injury problems this whole year, but you have been one of the orchestrators of hoarding players for no reason. Like literally, because why do you have Lamelo and Embiid? So for me, I'm thinking that we need to drop the IR slot to 2 people, man, because the only reason why we changed it from 2 to 3 was because of the COVID season, and it was so bad, right? And this year, if we're just going to be flat out honest, have the injuries been bad? Yes, but has it been bad in a way that like, oh, this has caught me off guard? No. And the reason why I'm gonna say no is because the guys that are out right now are usually the guys that are always out. Joel Embiid usually gets injured for a long duration inside fantasy. Um, Carl Anthony Towns usually gets injured. LaMelo Ball usually gets injured. Zach Levine always gets injured every single year. You know what I mean? Ben Simmons, ever since he has declared he's back in the NBA, has always been getting injured. Robert Williams consistently gets injured. Mitchell Robinson actually does get injured too. You know what I'm trying to say? So even Trey Young, he doesn't get injured. Like he's not out, but he's always playing injured. So this year the Hawks are like, we suck. Let's just make him get surgery so he doesn't have to play. So he can be healthy next year. Ja Morant, like he went from being score shooter to now he's injured, meaning that so it's just like the injuries everyone's complaining about, like if we're being 10 toes, it's not really a thing because the guys that are injured right now usually do get injured within an NBA season. You know what I mean? They usually do get injured. So it's like that's why for me, we really need to change either the IR or the bench spaces because every other fantasy that I play in, like respectfully, they don't have two free IR spots. They only have 2 IR spots. They only have 2, and then you're forced to make decisions because if you want to hoard players in your bench because you don't want to drop players, yeah. And this is another reason why our waiver wire is actually so bad. I'm actually deep in it is because you have a guy like I'm gonna use Daniel for an example just because I was just on his team. You have a guy like Daniel. So he has 3 IR spaces that he has made into storing antiques, right? So he's now storing antiques inside his bench places, right? In his IR spots. So then when people that he actually needs on his team are actually injured, guess what? He's not going to drop LaMelo. He's not going to drop Embiid because he thinks that magically these guys are going to come back earlier than expected from their injuries when they're not, right? So then what happens? You now start you now start using your bench as an IR space. You now start using your bench as an IR space, and then you have 3 people in your IR, and then you have 2 people on your bench that are now IR. So you have 5 IR spots, and then you have 1 bench. That's not how fantasy is meant to be played. It really is not how fantasy is meant to be played. How fantasy is meant to be played is if you have you're meant to have, okay, the only people you're meant to keep on your team when they're injured is your star player. Other than that, drop the guy to the IR. And then the other IR spot is meant for those guys that sit back to backs that are like out. So then you can keep your Kawhi Leonard that sits a back to back, put him in your IR, pick up a guy and stream. But that's why the waiver wire is so important in a fantasy, because it's always meant to be like lucrative. But in our fantasy, it's not lucrative because we have 3 IRs, and 3 bench spaces. And what we have done in our fantasy has created 6 IR slots. Like, that's what it is, because guys are keeping bums inside on their bench, right? And they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything. So guys that actually use the IR, like I know Mariano uses the IR very well. Primetime uses the IR very, very well. Even Liverpool uses the IR very, very well when he's playing properly. Those guys that use the IR very, very well, you're not gonna be able to do it well in this fantasy consistently. And that's not because of you, it's just because of the makeup of this league having 3 IR spots. That's just the makeup of the league. For example, when next season, matchup I'm going to talk about next, when they found out Zach LaVine was out for the season, they dropped him straight away. Because why are you having Zach LaVine in your IR if he's done for the rest of the season? There's no, even if he magically comes back in the last week of the season, are you going to risk losing 4 weeks in your season to hypothetically win 1 week in a playoff round that you don't know if he's going to be back for? And that's what guys are doing inside this fantasy. And it just does not make sense. It doesn't make sense. For example, I'm going to highlight Charlie's team right now. I'm going to use Charlie's team as an example as to why I think, and this is not me complaining. I'm just doing analyst for our league and ways I think the league can be better, if I'm being completely honest, right? So Donovan Mitchell is injured, star player. That's someone that you don't drop. Curry's injured, calm. Jalen is day-to-day, he's not actually injured. Keldon is day-to-day, he's not actually injured. If we had 2 IR spots, yeah, Charlie can't do this. He can't do this. He cannot do this. And this is the issue with our league, where it's like, why is a day-to-day inside your IR? So then what? Let's say if he has to drop anyone, he can drop, let's say, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And this guy put up 28 points yesterday, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Great pickup, by the way, Charlie, right? And then the previous game, 15, 7, and 5, and 2 steals. That's a great pickup from the waiver wire right there. Yo, shout out to Charlie for the great pickups. But like, I'm not saying like it's Charlie's fault, but I'm just saying that like, if you have 2 IR spots now, so okay, Charlie's hopeful Mitchell's gonna play it calm, right? Let's say I think Jalen set out a double-double, and then Curry. That's perfectly fine. But now guess what? You have to make a decision. You can't put Kalen Johnson inside your IR now. So that means one of these guys who are actually great waiver, like every single person on Charlie's team is a great waiver wire pickup. Powell is a great one. White is great. Conley is great. Walker Kessler is great. Corey Kispert is great. Trey Jones is good. James Yaquez, he's a great waiver wire pickup. Alex Caruso is a great waiver wire pickup. These Nickeil Alexander-Walker, these guys all become available automatically. But that's not what happens inside Funky Lads Fantasy. What happens is that we're going to hoard until we have to make a decision. And not everyone is like Charlie who actually ends up making a decision, because Charlie does make decisions. Some guys will just leave the IR until the guy's completely healthy and it's like, oh, I have to drop a player. I don't want to drop a player. And that's why Serial Winner didn't actually make the playoffs, because he refused to make decisions on his team. And that's why I'm saying that the IR actually needs to be reduced to 2. It literally needs to be reduced to 2 because, like, just Charlie's team right here is the reason why it needs to be reduced to 2. Because today someone could have actually maybe had Hami Yaquez or Alex Caruso, who are great waiver wire pickups and who can actually help you win a fantasy matchup. Instead, we're picking up guys that we've never heard before. Like, I'm picking up, who the heck is Bernard Fernando, my guy? Like, we're picking up guys we've never heard of because our fantasy is not, it's not correct. Every fantasy I've been in outside of our fantasy has 2 IR pickups. And then when I'm looking through the waiver, I'm like, yo, why is the waiver so stacked? Why is the waiver so stacked? Because it's stacked because there's 2 IR spots, right? So if someone doesn't actually want to do their roster, yeah, and other people use the waiver wire and know how to use the waiver wire, they are always going to win in fantasy. Why? Because they know how to use the waiver wire. Because if I'm going to be completely honest, you win your matchups. Yes, you have your star players, but it's the bench players that make up the rest of your team. You only have 1 first round and 2 second round. After that, the majority of your team is made up of guys that are not the best in the league. You know what I'm trying to say? And this is the problem. This is the problem with our league. Like, look, these guys don't have any IR spaces. That's great. This is how it's meant to be. This is how a team is actually meant to be. And if you have 2 IR spaces, one guy's in the IR, and then bang, we play. But we're not doing that in our league, and we're ruining it for each other because our excuse is that, oh, the NBA is too injury prone. So who cares? This league is meant to be a league where the best manager league wins, in a sense where it's like you may not have the best team, but if you're a really, really sick manager, you can win. But when we have people holding in the IR spots, it makes a really, really good manager, it makes their job even harder. Because it's like you give them less to pick from when there's already not much to pick from. You know what I mean? So if I'm looking at this matchup now, Vancouver Grizzlies versus next season. This one is a tough one. And it's actually quite surprising because going into it, I looked at the schedules and Charlie has a better schedule. Charlie does have a better schedule, right? Curry doesn't play today, which sucks. But I looked at it and I was like, yo, Charlie has a better schedule. I didn't expect Charlie to have this early of a lead, but I am low key. Charlie does need to drop on Nickel Alexander Walker. He should have dropped him today, but there's still a Friday. There's a Friday, Saturday back to back that he can utilize and just drop this guy because Minnesota only played twice this week, so there's no point of you keeping him on your roster. You could have dropped him today, and even if you wanted to pick him up, let's say Saturday or Sunday, you could have used the Wednesday, Thursday back to back and then picked him up again. That's what Charlie could have done, and you could have utilized your whole week in doing that. And then with these guys, like next season organization, man. Like if I'm just like this is playoff time, so I don't need to have any biases or anything. You know what I'm trying to say? And just talking about it from a complete analytical standpoint. These guys are good. Mariano, I think, is like he's the brains because his pickups are just they're good. I can't even lie. His pickups are good, um, and he even complained about the IR too. You know what I mean? And he is someone that uses the IR very, very well. Like he uses the IR very, 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 very well. Like he picks up some random people that you don't even know, and they end up getting the job done. And it's just like in this sort of matchup, it's like this is what I'm trying to say, where it's like a manager like Mariano, where his gift is the IR picking up those guys and having that foresight. It makes it harder for him because like their team is already like, who do you drop? Like you can drop GG Jackson, maybe you can't drop PJ this week. They're playing 4 games. Maybe you can drop Jonathan, but who's gonna do that? Bojan, like maybe, but like so it's like when there's not enough available, it makes it harder. So managers with a team like this in the playoffs tend to lose because you have a team like this, Charlie would I'm telling you this, for Charlie to win this matchup, yeah, Charlie will drop anyone on his team. Why? Because he can drop anyone on his team. He doesn't care about Yame Hackers. He doesn't care about Alex. He doesn't care about Alexander Walker. He doesn't care about Corey Crispert. You know what I mean? He doesn't care about Mike Conley too. He plays twice. You see what I'm trying to say? Like, but Mariano, he's in a different circumstance. So when we make the IR so dry because we have so much idle managers, you're killing the playoffs for a team like next season. A team that has a good team top to bottom, that has a few pieces that they can move, you're making it even harder. And that's what people are not understanding. I don't care if the NBA is injury prone. That's not our problem. That's not actually our problem because the NBA has bench players. So that means if the star player or the starter is injured, the bench player is the next one, and the bench player will actually have a nice production line. But what we're doing is that we don't even get to pick up bench players in our fantasy. We're picking up bombs. Like we're picking up guys that just come out the G League, my guy. That's what we're doing over here. So it's like this, right? In this matchup, he has one Minnesota player, Naz Reid. Should you keep him? It's up to you. But guess what? Charlie has two. And Charlie didn't drop one of them after yesterday night's game, right? So in a situation like this, these next season should be able to capitalize off of Charlie's mistake because it is a mistake. You should not be keeping Conley or Nickel Alexander Walker when they only play twice a week, right? But guess what? They can't. Why? Because we have guys like Liverpool who are hoarding. Even serial winner was hoarding. Like all these guys were hoarding for nothing. If I'm being quite frank, I had to drop all the guys that I dropped were in there. I had to take guys from their IR off of their team and release them into the waiver wire. And that's why you're seeing guys like Buddy Hield on the waiver wire, Zubac. And those are guys that are meant to be in our waiver wire. And that's what we don't understand. If I'm going to go on my phone and go on my Yahoo waiver wire and compare it to our waiver wire, guys would be like, yo, how the heck is this guy available? How the heck is this guy available? Because they're playing fantasy how it's meant to be played. They're not hoarding players, bro. They're not hoarding players. Guys like Buddy Hield are not meant to be on your team permanently. They're meant to be on your team to utilize his game or his back-to-back, and then you drop him. But for us, we'll keep him. Then when he gets injured, you put him in the IR. Like, what? I don't understand. Yo, but honestly, next season, they're going to have a tough one, man. Because Anthony Davis plays today, and Anthony Davis is Anthony Davis, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. Like this matchup is tight. It's very, very tight. I don't even if Stephen Curry plays one game, bro, I think it could be wraps. And if Donovan Mitchell plays today, I don't know, man, because like I'm saying, I feel sorry for Mariano because I'm not even talking about Larry. I feel sorry for Mariano because it's like I actually feel he's paying. And I'm not even talking like this is me being completely unbiased because it's like he can't he's not like he's stupid if he drops PJ. He's dumb if he drops Giannis, Colin Sexton, like and that's what I'm trying to say where it's like if we reduce the IR spots, those guys would have been made available a lot earlier and our waiver wire would be a lot juicier. And then things will make a lot more sense inside our fantasy if I'm being completely honest. But we don't want to do that for some reason. And guys are talking about injuries. So I hope after this video and people actually hear a different perspective, they'll actually see something because it's ridiculous. And I actually think that a big part of if next season if they lose, a big part of it, I think, is the actual IR slot. If I'm being honest, I'm not making an excuse for them, but I'm just seeing it from a different perspective. because I'm seeing it from the perspective of if guys were made available, different decisions are able to be made. You know what I'm trying to say? If different decisions are able to be made. This right here doesn't happen. 3 guys in the IR doesn't happen. A guy like Bojan maybe doesn't need to be on the team. You know what I mean? And that's it. And then this keeping 2 Minnesota guys after they already played can actually be capitalized by next season. So right now, I think they haven't had a good field goal percentage that I've seen of. Their free throws aren't strong. If Curry plays, all Curry needs to do is shoot free throws, and the matchup is wraps. If that makes sense, because Curry's that good of a free throw shooter. The 3-pointers are out of reach. The rebounding is. I don't know why it's close, but Anthony Davis is about to play, and Lakers only play twice this week. But 2 games of Anthony Davis can help Charlie win the rebounding. You know what I mean? I don't expect Charlie to win assists because he doesn't have. He traded away Trae Young. I do expect him to win the blocks. The steals, I don't know, but Charlie is like one of the best in steals. And then the points, Charlie. That's what I'm saying. If Donovan Mitchell plays, if Curry plays, that's what I'm saying, man. Like this matchup, I think it goes to Sunday, but it's looking as if right now Charlie is edging them out. But then after today, because Tyrese is playing today, Bam is playing today, and those are 2 big guys. So after today, and then Anthony Davis is playing today, Mitchell is a maybe. So after today, I think it will give us a better picture of where this matchup is heading. Next, London is red versus Beyond Ironside. If I'm being honest, man, I don't see Beyond coming back from this, man. When I looked at the schedule at first, I was like, dang, Beyond's in trouble. Because Chris has a very, very good he has a very, very good what's it called? He has a very, very good schedule. And Beyond, I'm not too sure about his schedule. I'm not too sure. But this is the other issue, right? This is what I'm talking about, guys. Everyone keeps saying that there's too much injuries, there's too much injuries, there's too much injuries. And then the waiver wire is dry. The waiver wire is not dry, my guys. Guys are hoarding players. So Karl Anthony Towns is not going to be able to play at all inside our fantasy. Look, the Timberwolves announced Tuesday that Towns underwent successful surgery to repair a left knee lateral meniscus tear and will be evaluated in 4 months. Bruv, we are in playoffs, round 1. That means we have 2 weeks left. Why is he still on your team, my guy? Why is he still on your team? Towns seems unlikely to return before the end of the season. So this guy needs to be dropped. Okay, Jalen Johnson. He hasn't played in 3 games, right? Okay, calm. Lauri Markkanen. Wait, I need water. Utah Jazz. What's it called? Utah Jazz, they're tanking. You know what I mean? They're literally tanking. They're tanking. But guess what? If we had 2 IR spaces, Malik drops Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Johnson, and Lowry are on his IR, right? So he has to drop Karl Anthony Towns, which means that in order to drop Karl Anthony Towns, you might have to activate him or something. You know what I mean? And Karl Anthony Towns goes to the IR. And this affects the waiver wire. Why? Because then some of the pickups change. They change because he had to drop Karl Anthony Towns. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's just it. but we're holding these guys. And then what we are saying, the waiver wire is not dry. We're holding players, and that's what's making the waiver wire dry, because you're not meant to have 3 people on the waiver wire. Malik's team is good. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. Today will be a very, very big day, like in this matchup. To be honest, if Malik doesn't catch up today, on Wednesday, I think the matchup is done, because he has a full roster. LeBron James is playing, DJ, Cade, and France, and Garland's playing. So if he can't put a dent into this lead, it's done. Another thing, bro. Malik, I don't know if you're watching this, bro, but you stole my Miles Bridges, bro. And respectfully, like, you stole my Miles Bridges. I need him right now, and you never gave him back. You know what I mean? And yo, shout out, this video for Charlie. Like, Charlie's the only person, bro, that actually called it out and was like, yo, that's low-key shade, because when I sent the trade for Mobley, it was before the injury. You accepted the trade after the injury. And you saw the trade, so you should have declined the trade when you saw it. But you didn't. You waited for the injury to happen. Then you took my player. And then the thing is like, if it was any one of you guys, I remember when Ben Simmons, when Chris had to drop Ben Simmons, and he's like, yo, or when Chris had to drop Trae Young, if Trae Young comes back, I'm taking them back. But it's like, this is why for me, I don't talk about no one's issues anymore, or I don't want to deal with anyone's issues, because people only talk when it has to do with them, right? Meaning that justice is truly blind, because when something actually does happen, that's like, yo, shade. Y'all don't really talk, bro. And then some people pick and choose when to get annoyed. And that's why for me, it's like, why are you guys getting annoyed when everyone's doing the same thing? So you're gonna get annoyed at someone else for doing something, but you've done something that everyone else could rightfully get annoyed for, but they're choosing not to get annoyed. You know what I'm trying to say? So like, at the end of the day, like, everyone is doing something inside this league. It's just whether or not people are talking or not, and that's truly it. If I'm being completely and utterly honest, yeah. Um, for me, like, for me personally, I think this matchup is. We'll see how today goes, but I think it's coming to a telling end, because um Kawhi Leonard is basically, I don't even know, like, I think he's dead, bro. Like, he's not dead, but like, it don't make sense. And this is why I didn't want to have this is why I didn't want Kawhi Leonard on my team to begin with, bro. And this is what I'm trying to say about fantasy. Like, is Kawhi Leonard being injured, is that a mystery? No, it's not. Is that something new? No, it's not. So when people are saying like there's so much injuries, Kawhi Leonard being injured is normal. Just like Stephen Curry having an injury in a season, it's normal. I had Stephen Curry last year when he was injured. I had Curry and LaMelo. They were both injured for a nice portion of the season. So Kawhi Leonard being injured is normal. And even like today, Charlie was like, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I traded him away, because of that possibility that he could get injured. But even Mitchell got injured too. But Mitchell actually always gets injured as well. It's just the timing of the injury. So it's like with Kawhi Leonard gone, playing against Sabonis 3 times, playing against Luka Doncic 4 times, Kyle Kuzma 4 times, Nurkic 4 times. I just don't. I don't see how. It's gonna be a tough one. It is gonna be a tough one, if I'm being completely honest. Um, I picked up Fernando because at the end of the day, I need to win field goal percentage. 3 pointers is a category I should win. I'm not focused on rebounding, but I do believe I can win the assist numbers. and I am trying to win the block and the steals. Double doubles, I don't actually care about, because at the end of the day, I'm playing against Doncic 4 times and Sabonis 3 times, so that's 7 double doubles. You know what I mean? And that's minus Nick Richards 4 times, which is basically another 4 double doubles. You know what I mean? So this team is a very and Nurkic as well. Like this team, 4 times of Nurkic. So this team is a very very good team. You know what I mean? So Kawhi Leonard not playing, it just makes it like even harder to win because with Kawhi Leonard not playing, it affects my field goal percentage, my 3 pointers, and my points as well, and even my steal numbers. You know what I mean? So honestly, it sucks that Kawhi goes like he gets injured, but this is why fantasy is fantasy because at the end of the day, yeah, it sucks that Kawhi is injured and I don't have my Miles Bridges, yo. Like, and I got this guy. Like, who cares, bro? You know what I mean? But we're not gonna talk about, and that's the thing, man. That's what I'm saying. People pick and choose because it's like we're not gonna talk about how me not having Bridges has affected my team, but we're gonna talk about something irrelevant. But it just makes it harder. You know what I mean? It makes it harder. And like the the most important thing inside fantasy is that you don't want to mastermind it in a sense where it's like you want to have like a Lansbury approach where it's like you know when you want to use your pickups, how you want to use your pickups. You know, you know your team in and out. And that's what I'm trying to do in a sense where it's like field goal percentage, right? I am in the top 4. Joe's team has risen up. So I'm second. So I should win. Beyond should beat Chris in field goal percentage, right? And and then next season should beat Charlie in field goal percentage, right? Then free throws. Beyond should win. Charlie, Chris, you see what I mean? Chris and they're right there. So it's like, look, Charlie's here. Next season is down there. You know what I mean? Beyond's right here. London is red is right here. You know what I mean? Prime time's here. Liverpool's right there. You know what I mean? I'm here, and then Joel is right there, and then rebounds. His team is disgusting at rebounds. That's why I don't care about it. And then, you know what I mean? So when you do all of this, you kind of know who's gonna beat who and what. So then you don't have to worry about certain things, which is why I don't really care to say that um this is what I'm focusing on against Joe because I don't think it's gonna change what he's planning on doing. Like assists, I should beat him in assists because I'm ahead. But he has Doncic playing 4 games. I have Jokic playing 4 games. So it's like like our matchup here changes drastically if Luca was playing 3 times, it just changes everything so much. Like so much. But then again, like this is why fantasy is so beautiful because in a playoff series, right, this late in the season, guys like Doncic, you don't see them playing back to backs. You know what I mean? So this is where those managerial skills come into hand. You know what I mean? Then the steals category, I should beat Joel in this as well. And that's what I'm saying. Charlie should beat next season in this. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. These matchups, you can kind of tell who should win. Beyond's right here, and Chris is right here. So the steals category, even though this is a significant difference, it's still up for grabs. And then the blocks, London is red is literally second, and then Beyond is here. You know what I mean? Ain't no one stopping this is above me in the blocks. You know what I mean? Then double doubles. You know what I mean? He's number 1. I'm 4th, so I don't really care about it. And then points, he is above me in points. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like when you use this, it should help you. So if I'm gonna use this for okay, London is red versus Beyond. So Beyond has 1, 2. Then it's 2-1. Then it's what? It's 3-1, right? Then it's 4-1. Then it's 5-1, right? Then it's 5-2. Then it's 6-2. And then points 8-2. So Bjorn should win. He should win. But right now, that's not what's happening. So I don't know, man. Like that's what I'm saying. Playoffs is a different machine because it's the end of the season, and the your players their schedules, man. Which is where drafting comes into hand because you can't draft certain guys. Like for example, this is why one of the reasons why I said like champion. Like for example, serial killer pit 2 Minnesota players, right, in high order. Minnesota only plays twice in the first round of playoffs. Anyone playing him in the first round is like happy because you've almost pretty much won. Unless Anthony Edwards get like 40-point games and like 7-7, which is likely but also unlikely. But at the end of the day, it's like you have a complete edge over them because is he going to drop Anthony Edwards to create a spot? No. It's only the first round. Is he going to drop Gobert? No. Which is why these playoffs are so hard. That's why I was like, oh, dang. I need to trade Reeves or D'Angelo Russell because I have 2 of those bums playing twice this week. And it's killing. It kills you because it's like, dang. So, like, if we're looking at this half of the bracket, if nothing changes after the day, I have Chris advancing, right? I do have Joe beating me, just based on the fact, like, if Kawhi does not play, first even the Friday half of the back to back, there's just no way I can win, right? Um, so I do have London is red versus ain't no one stopping this. Um, Vancouver Grizzlies versus next season. If nothing changes after the day, I have Vancouver Grizzlies up against prime time. That's my analysis. There's no way this is not a matchup. I'm sorry. I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. But when you have KD playing 4 times, Tatum playing 4 times, James Harden playing 4 times, Kyrie Irving playing 4 times, I'm even forgetting people, and they're all playing. There's no way you're winning. There's just no way. This right here, it's meant to be a big upset, but it's not really a big upset because Chris is a former champion. You know what I mean? And if I'm being honest, yeah, if Chris can make it here and come up against Joe, just because of how his team makeup is, he could give Joel a run for his money. He could. Like he really, really, really could. Just because of the schedule. Next week's schedule is completely different than this week's schedule. Um yeah, it is completely different because Dallas only plays twice. So like and it's crazy because imagine if we just took away that, like if you play against Joe and Dallas is playing twice, you want to play against that because he's not going to drop Doncic. He's not dropping Doncic. You know what I mean? So next week is the week to beat Joe. If you can get Joe next week and Dallas is playing twice, that is the week to beat him. But yeah, I don't respectfully I don't really talk about this, but yo, it's King Colin Walker. You know how we do. I'ma tell you and you too. I'ma hit up you and go back to you and do the bala ba 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 do 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 do.